Imagine you're an executive producer, right?
Right.
You're working in reality television, and you are holding this massive, highly publicized nationwide search to find a complete unknown. Like you want a fresh, naive amateur.
Right. The diamond in the rough.
Exactly. Somebody entirely unpolished to become the next big star on your network.
Oh.
So you sift through countless auditions, and you finally find her, the absolute perfect contestant,
Yep.
and you put her through the entire competition. But then, right before the final voting stage, the mask slips.
Oh, man.
You realize you haven't discovered a newcomer at all. You have been completely conned by one of the most famous, highly paid, multi-award-winning professionals in the entire world.
Wearing a wig.
Just wearing a black wig.
It's really the ultimate Trojan horse. I mean, you build an entire machine to find an amateur, and a seasoned pro uses your own machine to prove how easily your audience can be manipulated.
Exactly. And that incredible piece of subversion was pulled off by former adult film star Ava Vincent. We've got this fascinating stack of materials in front of us today. We've got encyclopedia entries, biographical profiles, even some translated French Wikipedia pages.
Which is fun.
Yeah, and we are using all of it for today's deep dive. But let's be clear about our mission up front, because we are not just walking through a standard biography today.
Right.
We are treating this as a serious, high-level case study in personal branding, strategic pivoting, and really just navigating a hyper-competitive, deeply saturated market. We want to extract the universal lessons of career momentum from a very specific, very niche world.
Well, what's fascinating here is that her career perfectly illustrates a universal professional tension.
Yeah.
It's that constant kind of exhausting tug of war between blending in just enough to get your initial foot in the door,
Right.
and then having to aggressively, almost ruthlessly, stand out to achieve any sort of real longevity.
Yeah, and to really understand that tension, we have to look at where she started. Because it wasn't some polished Hollywood boardroom.
Far from it.
Right. She was born in 1975 in Placerville, up in Northern California. And she spent her early years around French Camp and Manteca. We're talking small-town, agricultural California roots here.
Very far removed from the entertainment industry hubs. She was a cheerleader at East Union High School.
Okay.
Which does give us a tiny hint at an early comfort with performance, being front and center.
Yeah.
But the truly foundational piece of the puzzle here is her education. She goes on to pursue a theater arts degree at San Joaquin Delta College.
I'm so glad you brought up the theater degree. We are absolutely keeping that in our back pocket for later. So she's a theater student, and the grand plan is to eventually make the classic migration down to Los Angeles to pursue mainstream acting.
Right.
But she needs a way to pay the bills in the meantime. So she takes a job managing an adult bookstore. The records show she worked at a place called Susie's in Stockton and later managed another location in Sacramento.
Which, if we look at the mechanics of that specific industry in the late 1990s, is a highly strategic, even if accidental placement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because today we think of adult content as completely decentralized, right? It's all internet-based.
Right, right.
But back then, physical adult bookstores were the absolute center of gravity for the industry. They were the distribution hubs, the marketing centers, and essentially the networking lounges for performers, directors, and producers.
Oh, wow. So it's basically the ultimate cliche of the aspiring Hollywood actor taking a job as a barista or a server in LA, right?
That's right.
They're just trying to pay their rent, but they secretly hope they'll pour a latte for Steven Spielberg, hand him a headshot, and get discovered.
Yeah.
She inadvertently placed herself in the exact geographic and cultural hub where her future industry's networking was actually happening on a daily basis.
It's a perfect mix of serendipity and geographic proximity. So because she's managing Susie's, she ends up interacting with a customer named Samantha Style.
COVID.
Now, Samantha wasn't just a random customer. She was already a working, established adult film actor.
Right.
And they strike up a relationship, and Samantha makes a crucial introduction. She connects her with a Bronx-born director and producer named Seymour Butts,
who was an absolute titan in that world at the time. I mean, he had already produced hundreds of films and essentially shaped the aesthetic of a whole subgenre.
Oh, yeah.
So getting a direct introduction to him isn't just a foot in the door. It's being handed the keys to the building.
A massive opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And this introduction leads directly to her debut in 1998. But she doesn't step onto a set as Ava Vincent.
No.
No, she debuts as a brunette, using the stage name Jewel Valmont. And this initiates what we can call her foundational grind phase.
So this is that blending in period you mentioned earlier?
Precisely. She's utilizing that collegiate theater background to just get her reps in.
Right.
She shoots a handful of B-movies, titles like Illicit Temptations and Hollywood Fantasies. And she secures a role in another called Sexual Intentions.
She's staying busy.
Yeah, and she's taking on smaller crossover roles to build her resume. She even appears in a mainstream independent film called Fast Sofa, where she simulates sex with Jennifer Tilly.
Which is incredibly meta, considering Jennifer Tilly is actively playing the role of a porn star in that specific movie.
Very meta, yeah. And a great networking move. And by 2001, she's become established enough to be featured as a talking head in a mainstream documentary called Fluffy Cumswat, Porn Star.
Wow, okay.
Which explored the origin of stage names in the industry. The point is, she is putting in the steady, unglamorous foundational work required to build a baseline resume.
Okay, let's unpack this, though. Is changing a stage name and hair color really enough to alter the entire trajectory of a career?
Well,
because frankly, the timeline shows that getting her foot in the door as Jewel Valmont was great for a couple of years, but by the year 2000, she hits a massive wall.
She does.
The market was completely saturated, and specifically, she suffered from what we can basically call a catastrophic trademark problem.
The Jewel problem.
Exactly. The name was absolutely everywhere. Think about this from a business perspective. She is trying to build a loyal fan base. She's trying to get top-tier directors to specifically request her for shoots.
Right.
But she is competing in a sea of other actresses using slight variations of the exact same name. You have Jewel Denial, Jessica Jewel, Dina Jewel, Jennifer Jewel. It's like a modern tech startup launching with a completely generic name and realizing they are buried on page 10 of Google search results. It's a branding nightmare.
It's brand confusion at its most basic, fatal level. I mean, in any industry, if a consumer or a casting director cannot distinctly pull your name out of a lineup of 5 similar names, you lose market share.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
So in 2000, she executes a massive, highly calculated strategic pivot.
Oh.
She completely drops the name Jewel Valmont. She rebrands entirely as Ava Vincent.
Yeah.
She dyes her natural brunette hair bright blonde, and she actively loses about 20 pounds, which she later openly credits as a move designed specifically to broaden her mass appeal. But again, I have to push back here. In a multi-million-dollar industry, does just throwing some bleach on your hair and changing your moniker actually reposition you that drastically?
I understand why that sounds superficial, but if we connect this to the bigger picture of how this specific industry operates, it is incredibly profound.
Yeah.
You have to look closely at the psychology of branding in a purely visual medium.
Okay, walk me through that psychology. Why does blonde hair and a new name equal market dominance?
In the adult entertainment industry, especially during the boom of the early 2000s, success wasn't just about performance.
Right.
It was heavily predicated on fulfilling specific, immediately recognizable visual archetypes. Consumers browsing a video store shelf made purchasing decisions in fractions of a second based on box art.
Sure.
The ultimate, most marketable archetype of that era, the premium product, essentially, was the statuesque 36-24-36 blonde with blue eyes.
Ah, so it's a shorthand. She was signaling to the market that she fit their most expensive, highly demanded category.
Exactly. By deliberately stepping into that specific physical archetype, while simultaneously adopting a completely distinct, elegant-sounding, 2-syllable name like Ava Vincent, she was performing the exact equivalent of a massive corporate rebrand.
Oh, wow.
She signaled to directors, to producers, and to the consumer base that she was no longer just one of a dozen interchangeable jewels hoping to get noticed in the background.
Yeah.
She was a distinct, recognizable premium entity.
And the data shows that this wasn't just a good idea, it was a phenomenally successful repositioning. I mean, the transition from the Jewel Valmont era to the Ava Vincent persona was like lighting the fuse on a rocket.
Oh, absolutely.
Between 2001 and 2005, she essentially dominates the space.
The metrics of her success during this 4-year window are staggering, and they require a massive amount of logistical execution.
Let's break down those metrics, because by August 2001, at the age of 25, she is named Penthouse Pet of the Month. That alone is a massive top-of-funnel marketing win. The editorial at the time noted that she radiated this, quote, fresh yet unmistakably provocative energy.
Right.
After that, print media just devours her brand. She goes on to pose for an unbelievable 446 magazine covers.
446 covers. Just think about the logistics of just shooting that much print material while simultaneously acting.
Right. We're talking omnipresence on newsstands across the globe, titles like Genesis, Hustler, Club, High Society. She is inescapable. But then she does something that really catches my eye from a pure business perspective. That exact same month, August 2001, she secures a 5-year exclusive endorsement deal with a manufacturing company called Topco Sales to endorse and develop her own line of sex toys.
Which represents a monumental shift in how she generated revenue.
It's the holy grail of personal branding. Think about it like a star athlete in the NBA.
All right.
You can be an incredible basketball player earning a great salary, but the moment you land a signature sneaker deal with Nike, you have transcended the sport itself.
Oh, absolutely.
You aren't just getting paid for your physical labor on the court anymore. You are earning royalties while you sleep. You become a lifestyle brand. That's what this Topco deal represented.
That's a perfect analogy because it shifts her from a labor-based income model to an equity and licensing model.
Right.
And what's truly remarkable is that she didn't slow down her primary output to manage this corporate deal. The sheer volume of her on-camera work is mind-boggling.
Really?
Yeah, the records show she shot over 425 videos, appearing in more than 316 distinct films.
Wait, how is that mathematically possible in a span of just a few years? Doesn't that dilute the brand if you're in everything?
Not if you manage your tiers of distribution correctly.
Yeah.
Titles ranged from high-volume, rapid-shoot gonzo films like Planet of the Apes 2 and Perfect Pink 9, all the way up to major, high-budget narrative features.
Okay, I see.
Maintaining that level of output requires intense physical stamina, obviously, but more importantly, it requires sharp, ruthless business acumen. To shoot 425 videos, you have to manage a grueling daily schedule, negotiate dozens of overlapping contracts, and navigate complex on-set relationships flawlessly to sustain that pace without burning out.
And she wasn't just churning out mindless volume either. I mean, the critical bodies within the industry were paying close attention. She absolutely swept the industry awards.
She did.
And for context, in this industry, the XRCO and the AVN Awards are essentially the Golden Globes and the Oscars. In 2001, she won both the XRCO and the AVN Award for Best All-Girl Sex Scene for a film called Less Vampires, which she shot with an actress named Siren.
Which established her critical legitimacy early on. But 2002 was arguably an even bigger year for industry recognition.
Yeah, the momentum was just unstoppable. In 2002, she was nominated for 9 different AVN Awards.
Wow.
9 nominations in a single year. She ended up taking home Best Supporting Actress and Best Group Sex Scene for a narrative film called Succubus.
Okay.
She later won Best Oral Sex Scene in 2004 and then took home Most Outrageous Sex Scene in 2005 for Misty Beethoven, the musical.
And it's worth noting how completely her personal life intertwined with this professional peak.
Oh, right.
In July 2001, right at the exact moment she is securing the Topco deal and hitting this massive stride, she has a classic, spontaneous Vegas wedding and marries a fellow adult film actor named John Decker.
Right, and they actually capitalized on that buzz by producing some highly successful joint scenes together as a married couple before they ultimately divorced just a year later.
Yeah.
It paints a picture of a life, both personal and professional, that was operating at 100 miles an hour during this entire 5-year window.
She had successfully transformed from an unknown theater student working behind the counter of a local bookstore to the absolute apex of a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
She secured the critical awards, the magazine covers, the lucrative endorsement deals, and global brand recognition.
So when you reach the absolute apex of an industry, when you have the Nike-level sneaker deal of your market and 400 magazine covers under your belt, what do you do next? For Vincent, you apparently start testing the boundaries of the very machine that built you. Which brings us to 2005, and what is easily the most bizarre, fascinating, and telling part of her entire story.
The reality show incident.
This is incredible. Picture this. It's 2005. Reality television is booming globally.
Oh, yeah?
Hustler TV launches a reality show called Can You Be Porn Star? The entire premise of the show is a competition designed to find a completely unknown, fresh-faced amateur. It's essentially American Idol, but for the adult industry.
Right.
And the grand prize is a highly coveted studio contract.
The entire marketing hook of the show is built on discovering raw, hidden talent. It capitalizes on the audience's obsession with the girl next door narrative.
So Ava Vincent, who again is a multi-award-winning, internationally recognized superstar with hundreds of magazine covers, decides to secretly enter this competition.
Yeah.
She puts on a black wig, completely alters her makeup and styling to look unpolished, and enters the reality show under the pseudonym Kat.
And she makes it remarkably far into the production before anyone catches on.
She dominates it. The producers have absolutely no idea who she is until right before the final voting stage.
That's wild.
Right. At which point they uncover the ruse and immediately disqualify her. So what does this all mean? Why would someone with a 5-year corporate endorsement deal and a shelf full of AVN Awards risk her industry reputation to prank a cable reality TV show?
Well, this raises a vital question about who she really was
Hmm.
behind the meticulously crafted brand. And it actually brings us full circle right back to her beginnings. Remember that theater arts degree from San Joaquin Delta College we put in our back pocket?
Oh, wow. The acting background.
Exactly. This wasn't just a bored celebrity pulling a prank. This was a high-level, subversive piece of performance art.
Huh.
She was utilizing her formal acting training to critique the very environment she worked in. It highlights the inherent artifice of reality television, of course.
Yeah.
But more specifically, it powerfully exposes the adult industry's constant manufactured search for quote-unquote fresh meat.
So she was mocking the machinery from the inside.
Precisely. The industry constantly sells this illusion of the naive, authentic amateur to the consumer. By putting on a wig and seamlessly fooling the veteran producers of a show dedicated to finding amateurs, she was essentially proving that the amateur appeal is itself just another manufactured performance.
Right.
It can be completely faked by an experienced, seasoned professional who knows how to hit their marks.
That is absolutely brilliant. It's a masterclass in subversion. I mean, she figures out the rules to beat the game, she wins all the prizes, and then she puts on a disguise just to show the people running the game how easy it is to rig.
And she managed to execute this critique while maintaining complete control of her primary, highly profitable brand, Ava Vincent.
It really is an incredible, almost cinematic arc. When we look back at the entirety of the journey, she starts as a theater student, biding her time working behind the counter at a Sacramento area adult bookstore.
Right.
She gets her foot in the door through serendipitous networking, but quickly realizes that blending in isn't going to secure her future. So she reads the room, recognizes her jewel brand is getting lost in the noise of a saturated market, and has the sheer determination to completely reinvent herself.
She identified the specific visual archetype her industry demanded for premium success. She leaned into it entirely, and she conquered the market.
Yeah, she transforms into this blonde icon, poses for over 400 magazine covers, shoots over 400 videos, wins the highest critical awards the industry has to offer, secures massive corporate licensing deals, and then, at the absolute height of her power, successfully pranks the very system that made her famous, before quietly retiring somewhere around 2008 to 2011.
The core takeaway here, whether you work in tech, marketing, or any highly competitive field, is about the immense power of self-awareness and adaptability.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ava Vincent's story is a masterclass in recognizing when your current strategy has hit a hard ceiling. It's about having the courage to abandon a failing brand, even one you've worked hard to build,
Right.
and having the audacity to craft a new one that directly answers the market's demand.
It really makes you rethink how much control we actually have over our professional narratives, provided we're willing to take the risk and make those hard pivots when the time comes.
It does. But it also leaves us with a rather complex paradox to consider.
Okay, what's that?
Well, when someone creates such a meticulously crafted, highly visible persona, changing their name, their hair, their entire identity to achieve mass appeal, what happens to that digital footprint when they finally decide to retire?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
How does a person reclaim their original identity when their quote-unquote brand has been immortalized on hundreds of magazine covers and films? You can retire the persona, but in the digital age, does the brand ever truly let you go?